Us free.
Your Honor, please instruct the defendant that he cannot disrupt these proceedings with such outbursts.
Give us free! Give us free!
If we are to have any semblance of orderliness,
Give us free!
Peace, unity, and welcome my conscious and unconscious family and friends. This is the all-new BlackVillage Community Podcast, and I am truly your host of the show, JC, aka Afro Black, dropping nothing but the raw and uncut, without any fear, as I use my mic as a spear to chucker you with liberated truth. I am your host and your native soldier in the struggle. My purpose and mission for this show is first to enlighten, inform, and engage. And I want to engage with all who claim to know the truth. All truth seekers and my native family, I welcome you. This show is dedicated to all our indigenous native ancestors and to all those who've carried the mantle of truth, and to every person with the ability to throw off the chains of comfortable habit and unwarranted assumption and move in a new, liberated direction that is guided by truth and observational evidence, no matter where that direction may lead you. My main objective and purpose here is freedom, mind, soul, and spirit. That being said, welcome to the BlackVillage Community Podcast, and much love from our great universal goddess and mother of all living here and above.
In the house.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folks. You never find a white aborigine. Rather, aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't like to be called an aborigine. You want to be called an American.
You go to a reservation, you see poverty, you see churches, and you see liquor stores. When you go to any hood, you see poverty, you see churches, and you see liquor stores. So what make you think you're not on a reservation? Right? So all these achievements that we ascribe to African Americans, these are achievements by Native Americans who had to take on the identity of being African American because they was hanging us.
This means, in the case of an American Negro, it comes as a great shock to discover that Gary Cooper killing off the Indians when you were rooting for Gary Cooper, that the Indians were you, that the Indians were you, that the Indians were you, that the Indians...
But you think they was hanging people because they was Africans. Africans just want to go home. Nigga from here want to take his shit over. But you think they was hanging people because they was Africans. Africans just want to go home. Nigga from here want to take his shit over, want to take his shit over.
Our forefathers weren't the Pilgrims. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. The rock was landed on us. The rock was landed on us. The rock was landed on us. The rock was landed on us.
Hey, people. Hey, tuned in. You just tuned in to the BlackVillage Roundtable Talks, you feel me? Let me turn this down a little bit here. And let me turn this a little bit down here. You've just tuned into the BlackVillage Roundtable Talks, you feel me? And this is like maybe, I think, probably my third or my fourth podcast, you feel me? And I'm still a little nervous, you feel me? But I'm here, and I'm going to try to do this. I got in a little late. I was busy today, and it's really hot out here in Cali, you feel me? Got this Cali heat out here, 95 to 100 degrees going on, you feel me? So, but I'm here, you people, I'm here. And I got a podcast I want to talk about. I got a subject matter I want to share with my forum, my village family in the forum. I want to share with my friends. I want to share with my Aboriginal brothers and sisters out there a subject matter that's really close to my heart. The week before last, you feel me? The week before last, when I was on the air, and the podcast subject title was Confederate Monuments versus True History. That was the week before last. And I was going to do a continuation, a part 2. So that's what I should be doing right now. But I had something else I want to talk about. I had something else that was pulling on my heart. You feel me? And I want you to know I'm not professional at these subject matters. You feel me? I'm a novice like everybody else. I'm on a journey. I'm on a walk. You feel me? You know, I'm on a journey and on a walk for my people's culture and the revitalization, or what you might say, the resurrection of American Aboriginal culture. You feel me? That's my dream. That's my hope. You feel me? That more and more brothers and sisters wake up and care about who they are. You feel me? To the degree that I can go out my front door and see my next door neighbor and say Halito or say Osio. You know what I mean? They gesture back to each you. You feel me? You know, whatever universal indigenous language eventually that we have, you feel me? But right now, you got too many brothers and sisters that don't give a damn about who they are. They're going along with the status quo, you feel me? They calling themselves black, they calling themselves African American, and don't even know if that's who they are. They just going along with the status quo. So, people like me and a lot of other brothers out there, a lot of other Aboriginal brothers and sisters, we want to break that up.
because it's time for brothers and sisters to come out of the closet and care about who they are. It's time for brothers and sisters to stop having this attitude and this mentality like it doesn't matter. It does matter. We live in a country where laws rule. Regardless of these laws, a lot of the laws in our country are corrupt, imbalanced, prejudicial. We still live in a country of laws. And as a result, it does matter what you call yourself legally, what you call yourself on paper, what you call yourself and what you stand for on a daily basis. It does matter. And so, that being said, I wanted to talk about clan mothers. If anybody got my podcast events page on Facebook or just have seen it, ran into it, today's podcast topic is titled "The Power of Clan Mothers and the Genocide of a People." So, on that note, I want to also present my clan mother of my family, the clan mother of my children. She's with me and she's joining us today. I got her to come in. It wasn't easy for her to do this, but she came in. She pushed herself on in. Go ahead, my wife, my partner, my love. Go ahead, speak, Queen.
Hello, my beautiful people.
So I just had to have my wife. I'm going to talk about mothers. If I'm going to talk about the clan mothers, I'm glad my wife saw the importance of her showing up because, she's a very busy woman. She's a clan mother. She's always doing things for her family, working hard, paying the bills, doing what she got to do because she loves her family. And that's what every mother does. But we want to take things to a level now and talk about the history of clan mothers. And I want to talk about how that relates today, because today it appears to me I also don't want to spend time blaming everything on women. That's not what this podcast is about. It's not about blaming anybody. It's about talking about historical truth. You feel me? And so, that being said, I have some information I want to show. I always want to start the show off by showing my monologue, the monologue that I put together whenever I do a podcast. I do a monologue, which is showing how I'm formatting the show and what the subject matter is about, and has a body of information in it. So I want to show that right now. Let me go right here. There it go. There's my monologue. You feel me? See the title up there? Power of Clan Mothers and the Genocide of a People. And as always, people, I gotta have my little rules right here that talks about what my podcast, the podcast rules. Anybody who joined got my talking stick and order in the court. You feel me? But what I want to talk about is the body of information I want to converse on is right here. Okay? So let me quote some of this information of my own words. Let me turn this down a little bit. Bring it down to about right here. All right, now. So let me go here. This is the monologue that I want to present. First, what I want to talk about in reference to clan mothers. Okay, my first question in reference to clan mothers is in reference to the indigenous clan mother and what happened to her, the original matriarch of indigenous the Amerindian family. And I want to speak of the clan mother. Really, I want to speak of, and when I'm going to speak about the clan mother, what I really want to speak about is Big Mama, as you see right here. I want to talk about Big Mama because as an American Aborigine, aka within this Eurocentric society that tries to genocide so-called aka they try to label us aka African American, Black American family, and we all know the history of the so-called Black American family at one time had the centerpiece of the family was Big Mama. She was the one that kept everybody together. I'm pretty sure there's people out there who have seen the movie Soul Food, who've seen a lot of other, so-called black movies out there, so-called black movies, and these movies always have Big Mama as the centerpiece. She's the leader of the family. She's the one that makes sure that the glue that holds everybody together, which is loyalty, love, and respect, is the center of the family. And so that's what the clan mother represented at one time. The clan mother, and I say at one time because I know you got a lot of these reservations today that has clan mothers, on them. But are these clan mothers representing? Are these clan mothers doing what the original Amerindian clan mother was doing? I don't think so. The reason why I don't think so is because what we had going on before European contact were an indigenous nation and a confederacy that had all the tribes together in their place, representing one another in unity and in peace under the Great Law of Peace. We don't have that no more. Now we have a Eurocentric model of the Great Law of Peace that was taken from the Great Law of Peace called the American Constitution, which was written originally with other people in mind when it came to representing a people, or our system of laws that was supposed to constitute representing a people. It left the American Indian out. It left the American Aboriginal out. But that being said, let me go back to my point. The clan mothers, and even when it comes to the Great Law of Peace, I want you to know the clan mothers had everything to do with the making, with the enforcing, with the recording and the constitution of the Great Law of Peace. And so let me go back to my monologue. The elder mother, okay, I'm reading from my monologue here. The elder mother who took charge and leadership when necessary, and everyone who knew and listened to her when she spoke. Big Mama, okay? I'm saying the reason I'm using Big Mama in reference to the clan mother. Why? Because I believe as an American Aborigine, I believe as what this system want to call me, a so-called black man, I had a big mama in my life. My grandmother, my great grandmother, I had a big mama. You feel me? Now, this is why I say the original clan mother is Big Mama to the so-called black family. Where is she today? Where's she at? Okay, let me get back to my monologue. Big Mama was once looked to when everyone needed wise words of love, honesty, and raw and uncut truth. They knew Big Mama, I said Big Mama, will and would always tell you what you needed to hear. So what exactly happened to her, and where did she go? Big Mama, the original clan mother of the so-called Black American, aka Black American, but originally and factually the American Aboriginal Indigenous Neejees matriarch. Where'd she go? Where's she at today? Okay? Today, many Big Mamas have become educated to provide for their families. Some are career entrepreneurs, politicians, educators, and the list goes on. Yes, many are still in the hood struggling like many of us today. But did this destroy the image of Big Mama, the matriarch? Again, what am I saying? What destroyed Big Mama? Okay, I'm gonna tell you. I'm asking everybody. Did this destroy the image of Big Mama? Did getting a career to provide for her family? Because you have a lot of single mothers out here, and we live in a system where education is the only way you're gonna be able to make some real money. Other than that, you're gonna be making minimum wage. You're gonna be struggling. You feel me? This is the reason why they're trying to raise minimum wage in this country. Again, but did getting an education to provide for her family and a career, or becoming an entrepreneur, a business owner, or a politician, an educator, did this destroy the image of Big Mama? Or did her be staying in the hood? Because we have a hood in every major city, from Los Angeles to Chicago, to New York, to New Jersey, to Detroit, to Philly, Did that destroy the image of Big Mama? Because we still got them living in the hood? I ask, these are questions that I'm raising. But did the destruction of the image of Big Mama, the matriarch, did it happen another way? Is there something that maybe I'm missing? I don't know. This is the reason why. Go ahead, Quinn. You got something you want to say? Go ahead. I want to, because you listen. Go ahead. I don't want to cut you off. You were saying?
I said I believe it was colonization in the church.
Colonization and the church. I like that one. That's a good one. Because religion has
Think about it.
Go ahead.
If you think about it, everything you've researched and everything that you've shown shows that clan mothers were the head of everything. They were in charge of how the children were raised, how the clan dispersed food and land, and how whether or not they went to war or not. When the colonizers came in with their viewpoint of women on bottom and men on top of everything, and change the perspective of the family unit, then using their religion to back that up with the forced Christianity upon the people, I think that destroyed the image of Big Mama and the strength of the woman.
I feel you. And I can totally agree with that. Because when you think about it, if you understand the position of what a clan mother represented, and that's what I want to get into. I'm going to get into that, people. I'm going to get into the history of the clan mother. I got that information. I ain't got there yet because I'm too busy talking about relating the clan mother to Big Mama. Can anybody understand that? You know what? You have to understand what Big Mama's position was too as well. What did Big Mama represent at one time? Especially talking about today in the year 2020. You have a lot of young people out there who don't know about the 1950s, 1960s, 1970s Big Mama. I think Big Mama kind of fell off. If I, put it in my own perspective of what I believe, of what I recollect and what I remember, it appears to me that Big Mama broke off and became distant, became almost invisible around the 1980s. Between the late 1970s and the early 80s, Big Mama started fading out. The question is why? What happened to Big Mama? Where'd she go? Okay, let me get back over here to my monologue. You say, but did this destroy the image of Big Mama, the matriarch? Well, in some senses, she's still with us on camera in movies like the movie Soul Food, and in history, and in the history of minds. In the remembrance of every person she impacted, she's still with us on that level. But where is she at in the families? Where Big Mama at? My queen just made a note. She just made reference to the church. You would think that the church would preserve the image of the clan mother. Well, because I'm pretty sure everybody who remember, if anybody have any church relations, if anybody has any church history, if anybody has a church background, and I do, my mama still holding on to that man on the cross that don't represent her or our people. And my mama knows she's an Indian. My mama tell you in a minute, I'm an American Aboriginal. My mama's tell you, don't you? If you call her an African American, she'll correct you. She'll say, no, I'm an American, or she gonna say I'm an American Indian. That's what my mother always known who she was, but she ain't letting go Jesus though. So did Jesus? I would love for people just to think about it. Just think to yourself, what did the church do? What did the church do to fracture, to hurt, to break down, to diminish, to degrade, to disintegrate, to fragment Big Mama and make her almost non-existent? Queen, I know you've never had a flavor in your mouth for religion, and that's why I thank the Great Spirit for you coming into my life. So can you kind of revise again your perspective of what you think the church did to Big Mama? Because I agree with you.
I think the teachings of Paul, not Jesus, if you look at the teachings of Jesus, nothing but peace and love, the teachings of Paul destroyed the image of a strong woman.
They basically
His teachings make it so a woman can't talk about this. A woman is not in a position of what they call a position of a man, which was held by women worldwide before men had these positions. And so the need for that control, that need to be on top, has destroyed matriarchy and peace, which in turn destroys the woman.
Basically, it appears to me that you're saying that the church weakened her, and then as a result of the church mouthing her behavior down, not allowing her to speak her mind and to speak the justice that she knows that's in her spirit, and dociling her, it made her non-existent. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
And if you look at everything you've researched and everything you showed me about how the indigenous used to live, there was a respect and a boundary when it came to how men and women worked together. When a mother said this is how things should be done for the better of the clan, everyone listened. The men listened. If they didn't listen and cause that disruption within the clan, they were shunned out. That authority doesn't exist today. Now families are broken, they're separate, They have no respect for each other, let alone their mamas.
Wow, and that's true. I mean, just recently, I was informed about an incident that happened where a family got into an altercation, and the mother was being attacked by one of the sons, and one of the other brothers intervened, and it caused a situation where a brother ended up killing his other brother, and that's a hurtful situation. You know, I've heard of a situation where oh, come on, let's not forget the situation where even Marvin Gaye, the late great Marvin Gaye, it was what? He was intervening for his mother, and his father killed him. Father was abusing his mother. And so we're in a time now where even though you have a lot of men who do love and respect their mother, but you have a lot of men who have a very low respect, or a very low reverence, if at all, any type of respect for their mother at all, or their family for that matter. The question is, what happened? And what was the place, and what was the position, and what was the leadership role that Big Mama, aka Big Mama, originally the clan mother, what kind of role did she play in the family? What effect did she, because I've read where the stuff that we see going on in the so-called black community today, the stuff that we see going on in this so-called church today, the things that we see going on, like what I just mentioned about Marvin Gaye, and mentioned about where you got family members hurting and killing each other and trying to assault their mother and hurt their sister. These things at one time did not happen on Turtle Island. And the reason why is because traditionally there was no type of platform for that to grow in the community. Why? Because everybody was living according to the customs and traditions that was handed down by the Amerindian clan mothers. And those traditions were traditions of love and respect. Those traditions and customs were customs and traditions of honor, of following things and realizing that the love and good that you give is the love and the good that you receive. And that the evil and the negativity that you put out is the negativity and the evil that you receive. And that's been taken away. That's been stripped and that's been ripped a long time ago, hundreds of years ago. That's been forcefully taken away from the clan mothers. And as a result, what was left that these mothers can hold on to all the way through the times of oppression of the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s of the civil rights movement, these mothers who held their families together with a little bit of customs and traditions that they knew, which were created Big Mama. Which we ain't got today. She's gone. Where is Big Mama? Because last time I heard Queen, that Big Mama was in the club. That's what that's what I heard. I heard now if you can't find her in the church, she in the club. What do you think?
I think with the breakdown of the family and the fact that women becoming moms early, they no longer know what it's like to have the freedoms that women once used to have. The restrictions churches put on what a woman's supposed to be like, how a woman is supposed to behave. The ideology of the Europeans on what is supposed to be, how norms for sexuality is not what was once globally amongst indigenous people of color. They had different perspectives on everything, including sexuality, including relationships, including how the family works.
That's true.
With the patriarchal system that the Europeans brought in, they changed the dynamic of human behavior. What seemed normal and what was once normal and once was how a family system worked was now against God and against is expected. So
you basically, it seems to me what you're saying is that they basically shaped the mentality and behavior of indigenous people using religion.
Yeah, they changed it completely.
And you know what really saddens me is that doing my research on this, okay, back during the 60s, 50s, 70s. Okay, I know I'm jumping around. I should have just said 50s, 60s, and 70s. You had white people. You had white people. Eurocentric white folks, psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors, assessing and making judgments on the so-called black woman and the child and her children and their behavior from the time of their childhood, adolescent, and teenage and adulthood. They were making assessments and judging, and they had a lot of negative judgment. I might just play those videos next week showing how they were basically breaking down the woman in a negative image. But what's funny, what's funny though?
Because their own issues.
Go ahead.
Because their own issues. And we started with their own people. They said that it was a woman's, it was because of the woman this and because of the woman that. Because of woman's sexuality and her freeness of her person, that it was her fault that people are like this or they're having these problems. It's her fault. But the problem was really the fact that the man wasn't free with his own self and sexuality.
Well, because in the process, what they did, they turned. If you notice, they psychologically turned the so-called black men and so-called black. They turned them in on one another.
Mm-hmm.
Might I say the indigenous Niji family? They turned them in on one another. You got infighting, and that's been going on for a long time and still going on today with the indigenous Niji family, aka so-called black family. You feel me? But you're right. But you know what they've been using today? They're trying to revitalize this. They're using African teachers that so-called revitalize the Niji family in the process of having us believe and think and follow these fairy tale African stories. I got an article right here I want to read of a African so-called. I believe she's African. Her name definitely appears to be African, and she looks African. I don't want to judge her by phenotype, but her name and her face, she looked like African to me. And she's making an assessment of the so-called black woman. But go ahead, Queen.
Huh?
You were saying something else?
Oh no.
But yeah, do you trip up? You notice that whenever they want to bring in a so-called specialist or a specialist or today I'm talking about today, when they want to bring some so-called specialist in the so-called black family, it's always somebody who's educated with a degree with an African name. Do you feel me?
Mm-hmm. They're constantly trying to depict the people here, who they call African American or so-called black, here as if they have an entire African identity in their DNA that isn't belong to them. They're trying to place them and judge them according to a culture that isn't fair.
So basically,
which is just going to further make bigger problems, because an African culture isn't the same as an indigenous culture that was here.
Because they want us to forget and let go our original culture, which roots us to this land. They're trying to replace it with another family model, which is an African model.
Yep. So they stereotype that so-called all people of color in the world have to be African. So they want to apply an African ideology to them. Just because most Europeans have similar background cultures, they believe that all people of color do. They put people in the same light as themselves, and they give them the worst parts of themselves instead of putting in place what was actually true.
I got this article I want to read right quick, and this article is written by. It's basically. Let me go over here. Let me show y'all this. I want to show y'all this. This is an African sister. Let me go on over here and let y'all see this right quick. Check this out. All right, anybody, if y'all can see this sister, her name is Alexandria Okiki, okay? Her last name is Kiki, all right? Okiki. Her last name is Okiki. Alexandria Okiki. And it says, Alexandria Okiki wins the 2013 Undergraduate Research Award. She won an award for her thesis, her own thesis that she wrote, her opinion, her theoretical opinion on the so-called American black woman. Did you hear me, Queen?
Yep, I see.
Okay, so no. Let me tell you, let me read a little bit about this. Read this right here. It says, I am really happy as I was taken seriously, Kiki said, when she received the award. Her impressive paper connects historical views of Black American bodies by the white medical professionals with the goal of understanding why Black women aren't inclined towards mental health care. Okiki questions why there is a distrust of medical institutions in Black communities, while identifying the stereotypical controlling image of the strong Black woman. I never heard anyone talk about this topic ever, she said. Now, I don't want to go any further on her award, okay? So this is, let me go back over here. All right. So let me read a little bit about her. Let me read from a little bit from her article that she wrote on the so-called Black American woman, okay? Her thesis that she won an award for in 2013. I'm just going to read a paragraph. Here it goes like this. For Black women, the issue of stereotypes has been a factor of affecting the use of medical care and support, especially for mental illness. Black women with mental illness may not be treating their mental issues. Let me read it again. Black women with mental illness may not be treating their mental issues, but instead masking them. Historical medical experimentation, distrust of medical institutions, the thwop of the strong Black woman which operates uniquely to Black communities, stress the need for cultural inclusiveness, cultural inclusive of mental health care. The research also has implications for mental health initiatives and public policy imperatives in other communities of color. This project explores the history of mental experimentation on African Americans, the resulting distrust of medical institutions, and the stereotypes of Black women that may affect cultural views of mental illness. Now, this is her article. Now, somebody might be saying, I'm pretty sure any so-called Black woman, especially one who don't know herself, would attack this woman's thesis. What is your opinion, Queen, of what you just heard? I mean, to me, what struck, I want to point out one of the striking things that she focuses on. She says, according to her thesis, Black women with mental illness may not be treating the mental issues, but instead masking them. Historical medical experimentation, distrust. She's giving you a reason why now. Historical medical experimentation, distrust of medical institutions, the thwop of the strong Black woman. In other words, making fun or making the so-called Black woman look bad because by presenting a negative image of a strong Black woman, which operates uniquely to Black communities. Then she says, stresses the need for cultural inclusive mental health care. Okay, that's what caught my attention. Cultural inclusive mental health care. Your thoughts, Queen?
Basically, it is. It's true. If she's looking at it, though, I can tell because she uses the term African American. And
well, yeah, dodge the hijack. Everybody dodge the hijack when you hear African American, of course.
But it is it's a cultural identity that was once there, that there's still so hold today, that these white men feared the strength of a healthy Black woman. So today, with all of the troubles and the problems that Black women and women go through, period, they are literally told that everything is just their mental problem anyway. Any issues they have, they should be able to fix themselves. You know, you need, to realize it's not normal for you to act like you can change it. It's not the same health care they give their own women anymore.
So when she says,
as a part of the culture, if you look at the fact that mothers and women had each other to talk to express themselves, to share, without judgment of being ridiculed by those same peers, doesn't exist anymore. People are afraid to talk about what's really going on in life because they're afraid of the judgment it passes.
Well,
how it looks upon men.
Well, and you know as well as I know, originally the indigenous ClAN mothers had a sisterhood amongst themselves. You feel me? A sisterhood. where yeah, exactly, the women didn't have to feel that way. Indigenous women didn't allow their children, especially female children, to feel less of a person. You feel me? But we live in a society that creates these negative images for women, and this is what we got. You feel me? But so you agree with her assessment when she says that so-called black American women are instead masking their mental illness.
Yeah. The thing is, it's not just black American women that do that. But it is a group of people who aren't addressed in the issue. Because women mask it, period. They mask their depression. They mask their sadness. They mask how they truly feel. Because they're told they're supposed to be strong for the family. They have to be this. They have to be that. There is this image that they're supposed to portray.
Okay, what about when she says right here also, she says that she stressed the need for culturally inclusive mental health care. What do you say to that?
I believe that's true. If there were more people who understood the entire cultural background of what black American women go through today, as far as throughout history, then these issues could be addressed better. You see, when it comes to mental health care, they do things through such a single-mindedness as according to their own ideology, what their own mind frame is. So they say, well, if a white woman's problem is the fact that this is white society and how it's supposed to work, and now she's throwing all these other issues, we need to help her get on the track to fit in. It's all according to what's so-called the norm. But that norm goes according to what white America says it is, not looking at the background of the individual or the culture that surrounds that.
Real talk. Coming from a queen, my queen, I appreciate her words of wisdom, dropping the knowledge on, and you agreeing with this sister. Even I still, I'm gonna be real about it now. It's really sad when we got Africans telling us the truth about ourselves. I mean, this sister right here, let me go back to her. Here she is right here. Alexandria Okiki, and she wins an award. Now, I guess it was, due to the fact that they're awarding her for her hard work to put this thesis together. Let me go scroll down right here. This is her right here receiving her award at, let me see, what a university? This is at,
something I see is your,
well, yeah, I don't care what university she did this at. And, it saddens me. What bothers me about this the most, okay, is the fact that when she stressed the need for culturally inclusive mental health care. Look, we need our indigenous cultural everything to be revitalized in the so-called black community. Then it won't be no black community no more. It'll be an American Aboriginal community, because that's what it should be called. So it's just really sad that we got another woman from another country with her own cultural background, her own cultural awareness of her people, assessing and judging my people over here in America, where she got her education. You feel me? Mm-hmm. And so my point and my question I want to say is, do you believe this right here that she's talking about contributes to the breakdown of the ClAN mother, aka Big Mama?
I think it sheds some light on it. I think it shows why some of the women have lost who they are. It's part of the.
Look. She brought out some good points. She said the historical medical experimentation. Do you remember when they were sterilizing women, sterilizing indigenous women back in the 1940s, 50s, 20s. Yeah, she talked about and even that even goes further than that when you talk about experimentations. Okay, the distrust for medical institutions, the thought of the strong black woman was Big Mama, the ClAN mother. Mm-hmm. When they talk about how they throp, the throp of the black woman. Okay, you mentioned also the church. Let me go on down here. I had 3 things I wanted to point out that I believe contributes to the destruction of the indigenous Niji family by destroying the matriarch of the family. These three things right here. Religion, I agree with you on that. Religion was used to justify the torture, murder of indigenous women, and cultural manipulation of indigenous men to control their women through Christendom. You agree, Queen?
Yep.
Secondly, the second thing they used, assimilation and cultural genocide, which is the destruction of the indigenous way of life by the acceptance of another way in exchange for a European way of living. You agree, Queen?
Yep.
And thirdly, something they still do today, demonizing and false characterization. They use propaganda to shame and shade indigenous women into assimilation and to render themselves, basically rendering everything, rendering being a clan mother, making themselves powerless without respect from people by demonizing and creating a false characterization of the image of what they call a so-called black woman. You agree?
Yep.
So, the point being, everybody, we can all agree what was done to the so-called black woman. I'm pretty sure anybody who listens to this podcast is going to say they agree. We all agree with that, JC. We know what happened. We know what's happening and what has happened to so-called black women. So what's up with the clan mother? What was her position? Who was she? Let me read a little bit of that. I got a little bit time left. The show is over at 6. Anybody who want to chime in, call in. It don't cost you a dime, just a bit of your conscious time. You can chime in at 857-232-0155. Again, that is 857-232-0155. Conference key 947595. Again, that is 947595. The conference key to join us here at the Roundtable Talks. You feel me? So let me read a little bit of this right here. And I'm reading about Iroquois women. Why? Because the Iroquois were one of the largest and had one of the largest confederacy when Europeans came here. You feel me? And my people, which are Cherokee and Choctaw, are from the Iroquois. You know, they from that. They're Cherokee are from the Iroquois people. So let me read this. All right. The Iroquois were one of the most powerful Indian races. Oh, let me say that again. This is what they wrote. This white man writing this. The Iroquois were one of the most powerful Indian races, controlling land all the way down to the eastern seaboard of North America and several hundred miles inland. A woman's place in the Iroquois culture was very different from that in European cultures. Iroquois women enjoyed social equality and respect that was not shared by the colonial American women. The Iroquois Confederacy was composed of 5 different tribes who banded together shortly before European contact. The tribes of the Iroquois Confederacy and the northern Iroquois speaking peoples included the Huron. I ain't finna go through the list of the tribes, but it was a whole list of them, okay? The Huron, Oneida, all the whole list of them, Cherokee and so forth. All right, let's go into the kinship. And you heard just what I just read right here. It said that indigenous women enjoyed social equality and respect that was not shared by colonial American women. In other words, American white women didn't have that. They didn't get that. They didn't get that respect and that social equality. And anybody know the history of white women? They couldn't even vote at one time in this country. Now, let's go to kinship. Because for them to enjoy a equal respect, then what kind of relationships and what type of social status was in the indigenous family? So let me read this right. This is called kinship. All right. The kin groups and descent. The people of the 6 nations, which are the Iroquois people, are a matrilineal society divided into clans that are represented by various animals, okay? The 7 clans of the Tuscarora are, I'm not going to go into all the clans, okay? Let me continue with the kinship. People born into the same clan are considered relatives and are forbidden to marry one another. Children are born into the mother's clan. The system ensures that a child is born with an identity. Again, you feel me? The reason why it was important that the women had charge over the children. Why? Because what? The system ensures that a child is born with an identity. That meant that the identity, the culture, and everything the child knew, they received it from their mother. It's no different than today. It's no different than today. A woman tells her children who the father is, and they grow up accepting that. Do you know you got people who find out later that their parent was not their real parent? Or they find out that the mother was their auntie or their grandmother, or was not their mama. They didn't know. Their mother was not present, but somebody else raised them, and they find out later. They're not told while they're young. They get told when they become a teenager. It happens. Why? Because it's the mother who tells you who your father is. It's the mother who tells the father, who tells that man, you're a father. I'm pregnant. Because if she don't say nothing, he won't know nothing. So it was important that the mothers ensured the cultural heritage to the children. That means she was the master teacher for the kids to know their identity. Let's go on. Kinship terminology or kinship terms are based on the matrilineal clan system, in which all members of the same generation refer to each other as brothers and sisters. Those in different generations call each other father, mother, son, and daughter, or grandmother, grandfather, grandson, and granddaughter. Implicit in the use of these terms was the social responsibility normally associated with those from family roles. But mind you, all this right here was regulated by the clan mothers. Everything that I'm reading right now was regulated by clan mothers. When it came to that, everybody called each other brothers and sisters. And then, respectively, everybody who was not in direct relation, mother, son, daughter, grandmother, grandfather, and that's how they went. I mean, it went on, and the list goes on. Let me continue down here, people. Okay, this is another one I want to read right here. I think is really important. This right here, this article that I'm going to read right here, I want you to know where I got this information from. Anybody who are curious about, JC, where you get your information from? Let me show you where I got this right here from. History of America. This is the history of American women, colonial women, 18th, 19th century women, Civil War. And if you go on down right here, you cannot talk about the history of America without talking about American Indians, because America is American Indians. You feel me? We were here. So goes into the culture. Keepers of culture. Here we go. Check out. Keepers of culture. In the Iroquois community, women were the keepers of culture. Verifying what I'm talking about. This is the article right here, people. Okay? Keepers of culture. In the Iroquois community, women were the keepers of culture. They were responsible for defining the political, social, spiritual, economic norms of the tribe. Oh my God. Did you hear that? I got something else I'm going to show that's going to verify this too. I got some more information that's going to clarify and verify this. Okay, and it's not just coming from a website, it's coming from a book. Okay, it's Native American laws and traditions. But check this out. Again, listen to this. This is important. Look at the detail of it. It says, again, that the women were responsible for defining. When you say define, what is defining? That means they make the rules. For defining the political, social, spiritual, and economic norms of the tribe. That's power. Would you agree, Queen?
Yep.
The women define the political. Go ahead, Queen. Go ahead.
That's how it was.
Well, look, I don't see women today.
There was a balance in it.
Yes.
And there was peace within it.
And I'm gonna talk about that. I might not have time right now because we're going into 6 o'clock. But you know what? The week after next, I'm gonna talk about that balance. I'm gonna talk about the roles that the women play with the Counsel of Beloved Women. The Counsel of Beloved Women. That's who they were called. These clan mothers that actually had the power to define the politics of the clan. What did that mean? They had control over the chief. The great law of peace that was written, women defined. They wrote that. My goodness. Whew. Let me go. Okay, let me finish this up right quick. Iroquois society was matrilineal, meaning descent was traced through the mother rather than through the father, as it was in colonial society. In other words, in colonial society, descent goes through the father. But no, not in indigenous communities, not in indigenous societies, not in indigenous customs and traditions. It's matrino. The woman was important. The mother, the clan mother. Let me go at that again. Let me read that one more time. Iroquois society was matrino, meaning descent was traced through the mother, not the father, rather than through the father, as it was in colonial society. While Iroquois Sachems, aka chiefs, chiefs were men, women nominated them and made sure they fulfilled their responsibilities. Again, even though it was the women that nominated the chiefs. It was the women, not men, women who nominated the chiefs and made sure they fulfilled their responsibilities. And why wouldn't they? They defined, as it says right here, they were the ones defining the political, social, spiritual, and economic norms of the tribe. We've lost that today. What are women defining today? And when living in a Eurocentric society, what are women defining? I mean, women too busy trying to get equal pay. And then we got a president that made sure that the Liddy Ledbetter Act that African-American Barack Obama signed into law, making sure all women had equal pay, he turned around and reversed it. See, this is what you have in a Eurocentric society. Back and forth. Not about what's right and wrong. It's all about who got the most power, who got the most wealth. But see, in a indigenous, custom, traditional, political environment, the women are the ones that are defining how the laws and making sure everything just and everything that is better, that's going to betterment for the community, for the family, for the tribe, that everything is done for the benefit for the people, not for those who are wealthy, not for those who want all the power in their hands. The women made sure that these chiefs did things right. So let me go on down here. Let me scroll down here right here. Land ownership. The tribe owned all lands but gave out tracts to different clans for further distribution among households. The land would be redistributed among households. Excuse me. Okay, wait a minute before I go any further with this. Let me go on down. Okay, yeah. The land would be redistributed among the households every few years, and a clan could request redistribution of tracts when the clan mother's council gathered. Clans that abused their land or didn't take care of it would be warned and eventually punished by the clan mothers. Did you hear that? Who was the law queen? Who was the law of the clan? Who was the law of the tribe? The clan mothers. Let me read that again. This is under land ownership, okay? It was not men making the decisions. It was the clan mothers, and we should know why. Why? Because the land was also looked at as a form of what? Mama. So does the land produce, so does woman produce. So does the land feed, so does woman feed. So does the land nourish, so does woman nourish. They always saw Mother Earth as a reference for what? The clan mother. So let me finish reading this right. The tribe owned all the land, but gave out tracts to different clans for further distribution among households. They didn't charge them. Wasn't nobody, how much you gonna charge for this tract? It wasn't about money. No, you are of the land. Here's your portion of your land. There you go. The land would be redistributed among the households every few years, and a clan could request a redistribution of tract when the clan mother's council gathered. Clans that abused their land or didn't take care of it would be warned and eventually punished by the clan mother's council by having the land redistributed to another clan. Woo! You can lose your land. You hear that, Queen?
Maybe taking care of what you got.
Yeah, but look, we got so much distrust going on today This is the reason why. See, in a Eurocentric family, in a Eurocentric society, in a Eurocentric mindset, and we can tell because we're living in a Eurocentric environment today on indigenous soil. We're living in a Eurocentric bubble today. You feel me? But in a Eurocentric mindset, there is distrust of his woman. See, these indigenous men had so much trust for the clan mothers, so much trust in their women that they trusted their women's counsel. Huh? Oh, whoa. You know what? I haven't even got on the fact that when we talked about religion, breaking down the clan mothers, breaking down Big Mama, we ain't talk about the religion of the Iroquois people. I want you to know, people, that's going to be a podcast I'm going to get you in the end. I'm going to get you with the, because see, a lot of what you see today on these reservations is Christian religion, or a Christian patriarchal form of indigenous worship. Huh, Queen? Would you agree, Queen?
Yep.
Let me go on over here, man. Talking about this, man. I'm just getting heated about this, talking about this, Queen. And you know what? It's going on to 6 o'clock. I'm going to have to postpone this, people. And I'm going to have to, I might just have to come back to this next Sunday. Instead, I know I do a podcast every other Sunday, but I might just have to come back to this next Sunday so I can stay on point and keep things going with this, because I'm enjoying talking about this. You feel me? I got more information I haven't even talked about. I got more stuff I haven't even read. There's so much info. And you know what? I want you guys to know. Let me go on back over here and show y'all this over here. This information, right? My queen found this information for me. She helped me with this information. And that's what you see when you got a clan mama who cares about what her man is doing, and supports that. This is what you get. You get good information. I mean, look at this right here. All this is talking about the responsibility of clan mamas. I haven't even got to farming yet. Let me just read this farming part. The Iroquois were an agricultural people, and the women owned the land and tended to the crops. The men prepared the ground for planting, and the women grew the 3 sisters: corn, beans, and squash. Corn was planted was an important crop to the Iroquois. They had over 50 ways of cooking corn. Did you read that? Over 50. I'm not surprised. Are you surprised at that, Queen?
Nope.
I know some folks out there don't know nothing about no corn pudding. No, they don't know nothing about it. Now you got some folks out there don't know nothing about the traditional indigenous cornbread. They too busy eating corn cake. But let me go on with this right here. Again, all right, say the corn was an important crop to the Iroquois. They had over 50 ways of cooking corn, including the most popular corn cake, which is cornbread. He got a corn cake. Corn was raised in many colors and several varieties. Corn was also used in other ways besides food. Corn husks were used to make dolls. Anybody seen 12 Years a Slave? Anybody out there seen 12 Years a Slave? Do y'all remember what's that girl's name in 12 Years a Slave? What was her name last year? Start with a P. Her name started with
I don't remember.
I can't remember. She was making a doll with corn husks. Remember in the movie? People need to pick up. Yeah, it's in the movie. There's a part in the movie. I can't remember the one who was tortured the most. That little dark-skinned girl in 12 Years a Slave. The one who was tortured the most. The one the white master was always raping, and his wife was burning her and torturing her. Huh?
Okay, get off into it, dear. Yeah, I understand.
Well, you remember? Okay, yeah. Well, that movie. She was. I remember a part in the movie when she was making dolls with corn husks, and when that caught my attention, the first thing came to my mind. That's an indigenous craft. That's an indigenous tradition, making dolls out of corn. What are they trying to tell me? Just like when we watched the movie Nat Turner. Remember the movie? What was it called? Freedom. That Nat Turner movie, the last one they did. And in the movie, when they, I guess when they captured Nat Turner, I can remember seeing a woman in a halo reach out to him, I was like, what are they trying to say? You see corn. Oh no, when his mother gets beat real bad in the movie, you see corn. They show this corn and blood on the corn. I'm like, what are they trying to say? What are they trying to do? They be trying to drop little jewels in these movies, I believe. You feel me? But I'm gonna finish this up next week. I gotta go, people. I can't. Look, I'm gonna come back next Sunday and finish it. I'm not gonna wait the week after next. I'm just gonna come back next Sunday.
Yeah, you are, because you got your son's birthday party next weekend.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm gonna try to be here next Sunday. You feel me? Depends on what day. I'm gonna try to be, because I want to finish this up. I got too much information that I want to share about the clan mother. You feel me? About the clan mother, her responsibilities, her duties. I mean, we just read right there. It said the women owned the land, huh, Queen? It said the Iroquois were an agricultural people, and the women owned, not the men, the women owned the land and tended to the crops. The men helped prepare the ground planting, but the women are the ones that did the planting and the harvesting. You feel me? And so, and I mean, we know it was more than just that they put vegetation in the ground, but they literally owned the land, because they were the ones that were giving the allotments of land out to the people, Queen. So people might be saying, what does this have to do with the breakdown of Big Mama? Look, number one, they took her out of her leadership role of a family leader. If anybody heard me earlier reading, let me go on back up here. Where I was reading earlier. And I was reading right here. Where was I at? Where it said that the women, here it is right here. In the Iroquois community, women were the keepers of culture. They were the keepers if they were the keepers of culture, that meant that all the traditions, all the customs, all the rite of passages, all the religious practices and customs, their history, their records keeping, cooking, politics, all that, they had the power, they controlled, they kept it, they made sure it was preserved. By breaking down and destroying the woman, where is it now? Or has it been given to another people and taken from the clan mother by also first taking her identity and her culture, and she don't even know she's a clan mother? Last time she thought she was Big Mama, and Big Mama now gone too. So, people, I will be back next week talking more about the clan mother and the podcast topic titled The Power of the Clan Mothers and the Genocide of a People. But I gotta go. This is only an hour show. I can't spend 2 hours talking, 3 hours talking. And if I had more of my family in my conference room, I probably would extend the conversation a little further. But due to the fact it's just me and my queen, and I'm gonna upload this into my forum, I'm only gonna cut the program short, and I'm gonna spend the rest of my time with my family, being real about it, my people. On that note, I gotta go. Hey, Queen, you got any last words you want to leave the people with?
None of this stuff.
Go and say something, Queen.
Peace, love, and unity, people.
On that note, people, I gotta go. I will continue this podcast topic if I can next Sunday. If not next Sunday, the week after next. But I will try to come next Sunday and continue this podcast subject. I think it's an important one to understand the power that women had at one time. And you got a lot of people today that will look at that and say, well, what if those women were corrupt? That's not who our people were. We don't know the difference today because we've been assimilated. We've been assimilated, and our culture has been genocide. As a result, this is the reason why a lot of American Indians on reservations don't accept us, because you can't be an American Indian if you don't know that you're an American Indian. If you're calling yourself black and black American or African American, then that's who you are. You're not an American Indian unless you know you're an American Indian. So that being said, that's the reason why a lot of these so-called Native Americans show so much prejudice and bigotry towards us, because they look at us as a people who don't know who we are. And for the most part, black Americans and African Americans don't know who they are. That's why they're called black Americans and African Americans. So that being said, we have to understand that the breakdown and the destruction of the American Indian Niji started with breaking down the mother, breaking down the matriarch, breaking down the real leader of the family, breaking down the person who actually literally kept control and power and preserved the culture. By breaking her down and taking it from her, they took it from the family. I'm going to show that, okay? I'm going to show and prove that. with the information I'm going to read and the articles I'm going to read. So I definitely will be back, hopefully, next Sunday. And if I am, I will be putting up a posting in the village on Facebook. You can find me and my family on Facebook, the Black Village Roundtable Talks on Facebook. You feel me? You can www.facebook.com/the Black Village Roundtable Talks. You can find me there, and I have a lot of my uploads on there as well, and I have an events page on there as well. You can also chime in. You can call me. Again, you can always chime in at 857-232-0155. Toll free. You can join me whenever I'm doing a live podcast at 857-232-0155. Conference code is the conference code is 7495. Excuse me, 747595. Again, that is I lost my train of thought on the air. 947595. Conference key again, 947595. Let me do this right quick. My queen is all for us. She's off. And you can also email me at mrblackbones@live.com. You can email me at mrblackbones. That's MRBLACKBONEZ at live.com. You feel me? And other than that, I guess I'll go, people. I gotta go. As always, may the great mother bring us together under the wings of her peace, her love, and her joy. And as always, I love chicken, so love, peace, and chicken grease. I gotta go. Till next time, much love. Oh, not there.
Yeah,